What's up, YouTube? Welcome back to Common Sense, Logic, and Reason. And as always, thank y'all for joining me for another video, and I always greatly appreciate it. Now, as a black conservative person, is like you know how that is. Whereas a black person, if you're black, it's almost assumed that you are liberal and you vote for Democrats. And black people, even liberal whites, if you tell them that you're conservative, if you're a black person, and you tell them that they're conservative, I mean, they'll be almost dumbfounded, wondering how you can vote for Republicans, how you could vote for Trump. And honestly, I'm the same, wondering how in the world how could they vote for crooked Hillary? But this video is, I mean, I've covered this before, but I want to go back again, revisit this whole idea of why I voted for Trump, and just to get more in depth and in depth reasoning for why. Now, I like to ask people, why is it that America is the most richest, most powerful nation, most influential nation on the planet? Now, most people would say, right, blacks would say, well, it was slavery, that America got rich off the backs of slavery, which is laughable. It was not slavery that made America rich. If slavery was everywhere, and yes, slavery was everywhere on every continent. I seriously doubt there's a country on the face of this planet where slavery didn't exist. There's not a race of people who weren't victims of slavery, and there weren't a race of people who perpetrated slavery on people. So slavery was everywhere. And hell, even today, in some places, in the most like Middle Eastern nation, there's still slavery going on. So if America got rich because of slavery, wouldn't the whole world be rich since slavery was everywhere? Again, that makes no sense. And people say, well, America did slavery the worst. BS. There were far worse examples of slavery out there. I mean, there's nobody who's worse than Arabs as far as slavery go. There was no time in American history where black people, young black men, purposely having their penis as well as testicles removed so that they couldn't procreate with the women, which we call eunuchs. That wasn't happening in America. Slaves were not treated that way in America. And this idea that slaves were just beaten and just mistreated and dehumanized in America is actually not completely true. It's not true at all. It's more overblown than anything. But trust me, there were far worse examples of slavery out the world than just America. So America didn't get rich off the backs of slaves. That's ridiculous. Slaves didn't build everything and do everything. Like, all the white people were just sitting in the shade, having slaves shade them and fan them, sipping tea, while all the blacks were just building everything. Another excuse they'll try to give is, well, America became rich because we are imperialistic. Well, if America is imperialistic, we have to be the worst empire ever to exist. I mean, we've spent billions of dollars giving aid to people that we've got no benefits from. We even today we give billions of dollars of aid while we sit here borrowing and swiping a credit card to do it. That doesn't sound to me like an empire. An empire takes from people. Well, what are we really truly taking from all these people that we're supposedly subjugating? What are we taking from the Middle East? Hell, I mean, we were supposedly went into the Gulf War, the second Gulf War for all, of which we didn't take any oil. So what did we actually get? And where are all these people we're quote unquote subjugating and imperializing? What are we getting from them? That's what I would love to know. All of these quote unquote poor nations, they really have nothing to offer if they're poor. So what are we really getting from them? And I've heard Tariq Nasheed and other people talk about all this gold in Haiti. Really, well, are we getting all this gold? And where's the evidence that we're taking all of this gold and oil from Haiti? I'm just curious. So no, America didn't get rich off the backs of imperialism. So why did America get rich? Industrialization. Industrialization is the thing that made America what it is. I mean, why do you think that the South or the North, which was industrialized, outproduced the South, which was basically larger agrarian and manual and slave labor. But yet they outproduced them something like 7 to 8 to 1. Matter of fact, that's the main reason why, one of the main reasons why the North won the war, because they outproduced them in goods to help out in the war effort. And we pretty much pioneered industrialization in America. And when nations or areas pioneer something, they're the ones who generally benefit from it. Well, we benefited from industrialization, and there was a point in time when we were the world's greatest manufacturers, the world's greatest producers, the world's greatest exporters. That is the thing that made America rich. Okay, we got rich off the back of industrialization. Well, ask yourself, why is it that we are no longer the world's greatest manufacturers in the world, the world's greatest producers, the world's greatest exporters? Now we are the world's greatest consumers, the world's greatest importers, right? Well, what happened? Why is it that Detroit is no longer the motor city? Is the furthest thing from a motor city now. So what happened to cause this? Well, economic policy. Economic policy over the last decades that have absolutely crippled America, that made it difficult and more expensive and less cost effective to produce in America. So what did people do? They produce otherwhere. That's why China right now is a nation that's leading the world in manufacturing. All our manufacturing mostly went to China because of economic policy, a trade policy, and including tariffs, taxation, or the lack thereof of tariffs from on our end, and tariffs on other people's end. Taxes, overburden regulation that makes it just more expensive to produce in America, to the point where it's cheaper, as I've said before, it's cheaper to produce and manufacture and produce in other countries and ship to America than it is to produce in this country. Well, along comes Donald Trump now. He ran on a policy of America first, and a policy of I'm going to do what's best for America. Now Trump is, I believe he's 72 now, and he'll probably be soon going on 73. So he's been around a while, and he's been in the business world a while. Okay, and being a business person, I guarantee he has more understanding of trade policy, economic policy than most people. And I'm pretty sure over the years he saw this happening, this slow decline in America that shipped all our manufacturing jobs, our manufacturing base overseas. So he has a first-hand view. He talks about how building buildings, he was looking for windows produced in America, but he couldn't, so he had to go overseas. So Trump has a first-hand knowledge, a first-hand view of what has happened to America, and has the knowledge of how to change it. And he ran on a platform of he's going to change and redo a lot of the policies that harmed and hurt us. And we see the benefits of it. If nobody can lie. You can lie all you want, say he's not doing a good job, but the fact is the numbers don't lie. Liberals lie, but the numbers don't. So America's immensely better now economically because of Trump. And keep in mind that the Fed has raised interest rates on him something like 5 times since he took office. I mean, that's almost unprecedented. Hell, if they would have raised interest rates on Obama one time, it would have been kind of disastrous. But they had raised interest rates on him 5 times since he's took office in 2016, and we still doing well economically and much improved. So that just goes to show you his policies. Now, people will say that it was Barack Obama's policies, and it take years for the effect of a policy to take place. Well, based on what? And by the way, what exactly did Barack Obama do to to improve our economic situation? I mean, I can point to what Trump did. Now, what did Trump do to increase our economic situation? Well, he did the number one, and number two things that causes economics to grow. That being number one, tax cuts. Number two, reduce regulation, which reduce burdens on businesses and have the same effect. You cut taxes, immediately businesses are more profitable. We prior to Trump and his tax cut, we had the highest corporate income tax in any other nation in the world. It was like 35, 34%. Now we had 15. That's a significant drop. So automatically businesses are far more profitable than they used to be. And people don't understand about economies. Businesses are the engines that drive the economy. And money is the fuel that runs that account, those engines. So the more money that these businesses have, the more fuel for the engine to drive the economy. And that's what's happening with Trump's tax cut. And that those tax cuts are felt immediately. It doesn't take years for us to see the benefit. They are immediate. It's almost like nitroglycerin. It's not Viagra, it's crack. You feel it immediate. So tax cut are an immediate benefit, and you see it immediately. Same thing with the reduction of tariffs. I mean, not tariffs. Excuse me. With the reduction of all the overburden regulation, and I'm not saying that we shouldn't have any regulation. That's the first thing that liberals with their policy of absoluteness, they hear all. I'm not saying that we shouldn't have any regulation. I've never been against that. I'm on the record for saying that everything and everybody needs some form of restriction, because if not, we're going to have chaos. So of course we need regulation. We need environmental regulations. The problem is that the environmentalist wackos, they just go overboard with it. And sometimes the EPA, they employ regulation just to seem important, but it gets overburdened. And the more regulation that you have to comply with, the more expensive it's going to be. So if you remove ridiculous overburden regulation, then that's more money in the hands of businesses. And again, these two things really help economics. We have nothing but history. We have economics 101 that tells us that when you cut taxes, you're going to help the economy. And when you raise taxes, you hurt the economy. We have history that tells us it's the case. So, you have to wonder, well, if that's the case, anybody who claims to want to help the economy, you think they will reduce taxes. But liberal leftists always want to raise taxes. That just goes to show you how much they really care. They don't give a damn. All they're all about is control. But again, Trump, when I heard Trump's economic policy, I knew immediately this was the person for us. And again, I've known for a while now what was wrong in America, because I go to the places where the knowledge is handed out. You're not going to get knowledge. Listen to BET all day, listen to the music on the radio all day. You're not going to get any knowledge watching the Housewives of Atlanta. You got to go to the places where the knowledge, and that's what I would do, and I would have that knowledge, and I knew. And I can tell you, most people have no clue why we're in the shape we are, why we have no manufacturing. I don't think they even thought about why we have manufacturing, because they didn't know. But I did, and when I heard Trump's policy, I knew I was on the Trump train ever since. And as well as we see things going, you know what, Trump 2020. And if we keep getting well, it will be, no doubt about it. Because as most people, when people are being employed, like those black people in Gary, Indiana, when that steel mill opened up, that's been closed for decades, I believe it's the same steel mill that was depicted in the Jacksons, where Joe Jackson worked at. Been closed for decades. It's open now, putting people to work in good high paying manufacturing job over retail. So America is benefiting from it, and we still haven't seen the full impact of it. But we still want Trump to continue his policy, and that's why I voted for him. The number one plank, the reason why I voted for Trump was his economic policy. And again, you can hate on Trump, you can just disagree with him just for the fact that he's Republican and you don't like Republicans, but nobody can deny how this country has greatly benefited from his policy. And nobody can say it's Barack Obama's policy. That's BS. But anyway, that's a more in-depth view on why I voted for Trump and why I will be voting for him in 2020, provided he runs. I hope he does run again. And I hope we get another conservative candidate that's America first in 2024. Hell, Ben Shapiro, Candace Owens. We need to bring America back again, and that's what they're doing. But anyway, y'all, this is why I voted for Trump. And as always, y'all, until next time.